Connecting the dots, I dropped out of Reed College after the first 6 months, though I stayed around for about 18 more months before officially leaving. Why did I drop out? Well, it started even before I was born. My biological mother was a young, single graduate student. She decided to give me up for adoption and wanted me to be raised by college graduates. Everything was arranged for me to be adopted by a lawyer and his wife. But when I was born, they changed their minds and decided they wanted a girl instead. So, my adoptive parents, who were on a waiting list, got a call in the middle of the night asking, "We have a baby boy. Do you want him?" They said, "Of course." Later, my biological mother found out my mom hadn't graduated from college, and my dad had never even finished high school. She initially refused to sign the adoption papers but eventually agreed after my parents promised that I would go to college one day. 17 years later, I did go to college. But I naively chose a school that was almost as expensive as Stanford. All of my working-class parents' savings went into my tuition. After 6 months, I couldn't see the value of it. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life, and I couldn't see how college was going to help me figure it out. Meanwhile, I was spending all of my parents' life savings. So, I decided to drop out and trust that everything would work out. It was scary at the time, but looking back, it was one of the best decisions I ever made. Once I dropped out, I stopped taking required classes that didn't interest me and began sitting in on ones that fascinated me. It wasn't all easy. I didn't have a dorm room, so I slept on the floors of friends' rooms. I returned Coke bottles for 5 cents each to buy food. And once a week, I'd walk 7 miles across town to get a good meal at the Hare Krishna temple. One of the classes I stumbled upon was calligraphy. Reed College had perhaps the best calligraphy program in the country. Every poster and label on campus was beautifully hand-lettered. I learned about serif and sans serif typefaces, the varying amounts of space between letter combinations, and what makes typography great. At the time, none of it seemed like it would have any practical application. But 10 years later, when we were designing the first Macintosh computer, it all came back to me. Mac was the first computer with beautiful typography. If I hadn't taken that class, the Mac wouldn't have had multiple typefaces or proportionally spaced fonts. And since Windows copied the Mac, it's likely no personal computer would have had them. You can't connect the dots looking forward, you can only connect them looking backward. So, you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. Trust in something, your gut, destiny, karma, or whatever you believe in.